Good morning, everyone. Well, a rare video miss day, but in Mexico, during the holidays especially, every once in a while you get unexpected guests. So my oldest daughter showed up with her boyfriend, and of course, this was about 8 in the morning. So I was like, get up out of bed, figure out what we're going to do. We kind of had plans anyway, so we were kind of sort of up. We were going to go visit Cristo Roto, which is it's a crucifix that's kind of broken, and it's in kind of the northern part of our state. So anyway, they show up, so we kind of restructured everything, and so it's kind of fun. It really is. It's not a bad thing at all, especially when you're on ketones and like me, you're on OMAD, and your mind is pretty much like, whatever, man, no worries. So, kind of a dire situation that I see coming up also. I absolutely believe in the absolute infinite parental role in their own children, okay? You have your opinions, I have mine. We raise our kids our way, and thou shalt not interfere with that. And then here we kind of come to a hazy line of, well, what is abuse? What's not abuse? Some parents will strike their children from the biblical, he who withholds the rod hates his child. Some people don't see eye to eye on that. Some people abuse the law to impose their parental wishes or wills, even on other children. Now, where do you draw the line? In a free society, that becomes a very difficult idea. You know, does the children, quote unquote, go to school? Do they dress appropriately? Do they look clean? Do they look like they have a roof over their head? Are they fed? Do they have water? Okay. That being said, and with the absolute abuse of the law, even since 1850, after I read Frederick Bastiat's The Law, he absolutely explains how people constantly abuse power to enforce their views and their wills on others. So, parents, I'm speaking to you. As a parent, I would absolutely, knowing what I know now, in the dietary world, I would definitely raise my children at least in the manner in which I was raised, because I was very thin growing up, very healthy growing up. I ate eggs and bacon. Now, for lunch, my grandma was insistent on soup and a sandwich. All right, so the sandwich had, I remember most, minced ham. So this would be a regular leg of ham that she would have made. She would have ground it up. She used real mayonnaise. She would add pickle relish and pickle juice. Okay, there might be a little bit of sugar in the pickle relish, but it was distributed throughout the ham, of course. And then the 2 slices of bread. And it was white bread, okay, guilty. And then soup. She loved Campbell's, but I am unsure in the late 60s, early 70s, how much poisons Campbell actually put in their soup. And it may not have been much. It may have been just what was necessary to preserve the product in the can. I don't know. There's probably no way for me to go back and look. If anyone has information, send it. Maybe I'll do a search if I'm interested. And then, of course, for dinner was always meat and either potatoes or greens, especially whale tails. My grandpa used to call them. These were green beans, cooked in butter, maybe bacon added, and then it was like meat, potatoes, and then a dessert, which would have been a cake or something, but it wasn't a huge, chunk of cake. It was, maybe a 9x6 Pyrex. You divide that, so you wind up with a 2-inch by 1-inch piece of banana bread, for example, with frosting. Okay. And that was what we ate, and we didn't eat snacks. Nobody had a snack. I don't know if you remember this, but I remember this. Like, get home from school, I'm hungry. Well, it'll spoil your dinner. Who's heard that? I've heard that. Everyone heard that. Or after dinner, you're like, before you go to bed, you're like, oh, I'm kind of hungry. You should have eaten more dinner, right? So you went to sleep on an empty stomach, essentially. I mean, we ate supper at 5. That's when you ate, and you went to bed about 9 o'clock. So there's 4 hours or so. Your stomach's almost empty. And you slept on an empty stomach. Nobody complained of GERD. The kids slept straight through, and they would sleep straight through until you had to get up for school in the morning, which was probably, you had to get to school. In high school, we had to be in homeroom by 8. So that meant you had to wake up probably 6 o'clock. You ate by 7, you're out the door, all right? So you had a full 13 or 14 hours of fasting every day. And this didn't just end on weekends. You never went out for fast food, ever. That was a treat. You never drank Coke. You never drank Pepsi. Saying the beverages, you never drank any of that stuff. So what changed? Well, food companies, in my opinion, started lobbying the politicians, and all of a sudden they came up with these guidelines in 1977, 78, somewhere in there. And they said, well, you have to eat an awful lot of grains, and keep protein to a minimum, keep salt to a minimum, keep fat to an absolute minimum. Okay, well, that obviously has screwed us up for 50 years. Now, trying to get back to where we were, do not tell your friends, your relatives, your mom, your uncle, your great aunt, sisters, nephews, dog's lawyer. Do not tell them you are doing keto. Do not tell them you're doing intermittent fasting. Do not tell them any of that nonsense, please. Now, you're going to do it, absolutely. Yeah. Feed your kids. If they need breakfast, eventually they may not need breakfast if you feed them correctly. Bacon and eggs in the morning is a delicious breakfast. No juice. No cereal. Bacon and eggs, all they want. They are going to excel in school. They're not going to be drowsy. They're not going to be ADHD. They're not going to be ADD. They're not going to, all this stuff, all right? Especially the boys. They're just not going to be, low. And they're going to be attentive. They're going to be learning. They're going to be boys. But they're not going to be this falling asleep, oh, this poor thing, right? And then when they get home, if they're hungry, and again, after they've been trained, obviously since birth, if they're hungry, feed them all they want. No carbs. You can feed them eggs, meats, cheese, until they're full. And they probably won't need to eat till the next day, all right? Now, if you guys eat together, which you should be, and if you're not, you need to arrange that. Well, are you telling me what to do with my life? I'm not telling you to do with your life. I'm telling you to eat together. I don't care what you have to do with your life. You need to eat together every day at dinner. That's probably the single number one most thing we ever did right with our kids. And we still had a problem or two. But it's a lot less than what I'm seeing out there, friends. So if dad gets home, mom gets home, sadly, my wife didn't go to work in the now, sadly, traditional sense. She stayed home with the kids. And if you don't think that's work, I'm going to tell you right now, madam, you are a fool. Being a mom is the hardest, most challenging, ridiculous, horrible, thankless job you will ever do in your life. And maybe that's why most moms like to go to work and get all prissed up and going, and the boss tells them they're wonderful. Because as a mom, you're not going to hear, you're wonderful. Unless you have a good man who says, honey, thank you for what you're doing with the children. You're wonderful. I'm the guy who's supposed to tell her. All right? Fit to fat after 50, and like I said, sometimes it deals with a little bit of mental health and a little bit of rah. So anyway, back on the story, since mom will probably be staying home, hopefully, if you live like an uber traditional family like we did, Dad gets home around 5 or 6, and then you can eat, and then eat. And I mean eat. You throw a big chunk of meat in front of all your kids, boys and girls alike. You give them, if they like salad, if you want them to have salad, give them a salad. All right? Whoever, what do you eat out there? Oh, steak and salad. I mean, there's whole restaurants built on steaks and salads. Perfect. Feed them eggs. Feed them chicken, pork, fatty fish. All right? And your kids will not only be lean, they will be powerful. They will be whatever they are in their nature. They will not be sick. They won't have mental illnesses because their glucose is going to be. I mean, there's documents out there. You go. I'm just following surveys and reference papers and things that I've either heard about or looked at myself. Eating a proper human diet is primordial to your mental health. So your kids, they're going to be able to handle hang-ups a little easier. Now, my also advice actually would be to homeschool. And if mom's going to be home anyway, this works out perfectly because, number one, they don't need to eat in the morning, so you can teach them right away. Get the 2 or 3 hours of education out of the way. I always recommend the flip class. And if you want to know what that is, leave me a comment. But it's really a cool way for almost an autodidactic way of learning. It's a lot of work on mom's side from the front end, but the back end is a whole lot easier. And once you have your curriculum in place, what the heck, why don't you keep a copy of it and then you can sell it? I mean, why not be entrepreneurial about it? But when asked, say, oh yeah, my kids eat a proper human diet. Or my kids eat steak and potatoes. Use a Metanim. Look the word up, Metanim. It's a very cool word. I kind of knew it, but I kind of had forgotten about what it really means and everything. So just tell them, yeah, what do they eat for dinner? They eat steak and potatoes. That's never a problem. Nobody's ever going to criticize you for that. You're kind of lying in the sense that it's a metonym for actually maybe a steak and a salad, but steak and potatoes, French fries, bread and butter. Okay, we know what that means, all right? You can tell them they get their bread and butter, they get their steak and potatoes. Oh, okay. Right? Don't say they're keto, which they will be, absolutely. Don't say they're low carb, high fat, which they will be, absolutely. Don't say they fast, which they will be, absolutely. If they don't eat breakfast and they don't eat till say 12 and then they eat again at 5 or 6, they're doing 18/6s, man. Do you want to know how healthy you're going to get at 1860? Look at me. Look at my video from May 15th. Look at today's video. And that's what 18/6s do. And now I'm on OMAD because I frankly, I eat a lot at one meal, and I'm really not hungry for what we call cena here in Mexico. So we eat about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I'm done, man. But I eat 4 eggs. Like today, I'm gonna polish off half a chicken, a 2-egg omelet with cheese, and I'll find something else to play with. I have chicharrones constantly floating around if I need something crunchy or I need a chip. I have fun just picking my chicken apart, dipping it in Frank's hot sauce, mounted with butter. All right, I'll do the calories on that thing. The macros on that. The micros are awesome. I mean, it's made with the chili añejo, the cayenne pepper. Look up the nutrients in that sucker. And now I don't know if it's how bad it gets, if it's pasteurized or whatever. All I know is it's this ground up pepper sitting in chili with garlic and salt. Now, how can you go bad? Garlic is absolutely delicious. It's absolutely wonderful for you. So a little long video today, and I know I told a few stories, and I kind of not imposed my will, but I did give you some suggestions from someone who is approaching 90% of all human population below him. All right, so I'm in an age now where a mere 10 out of every 100 people is older than I am. That's weird. just really weird for me because I feel like I'm 20, and assuming I don't get, crashed in a plane or wrecked in a car or, shot by some idiot, my body will probably go for, gosh, I don't have a problem doing this for the next 80 years, man. And when people ask me, they're going to be like, huh? So anyway, I'll cut this short. My guest just arrived. That's why I kind of looked out the window. So we'll talk soon. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Bye.